One of the after effects of having run a 100-mile trail race is on more than one occasion I've had to stop myself from responding to some bullshit with, "I'm the beast of the East, damn it. You don't talk to me that way." Well, the race is called that, but yeah, you might start to believe that kind of effort makes you less lazy than others. And you might be right about that, but before you let fly with that very specific epithet or something like it, think on everything else you need to get done, because I'm betting it's a hell of a lot. Welcome to Pushing 100. I'm Adam 12, radio rat, podcaster, ultra runner, beer drinker. If you last listened to me on the radio or my last podcast, Pushing 50, welcome back. If you came here from the former, that's good. We're still going to rock. From the latter, great. We're still going to help each other do more stuff while taking less crap, but we're going to have more fun with it this time, all right? So what corked the beast of the East, damn it, reply before it could fly out of my mouth is the realization of how absurd it is that I only speak one language. And not all that well, if some past reviews are to be believed. It's just so easy once you reach your 50s to be stymied by unfinished business. It may be worse if you don't act on it, but the perceived enormity of the task makes you not only not want to do it, but not want to celebrate what you have accomplished. It's a bad place to be linger. And on top of that, the temptation to approach each task as though were an ultramarathon, that is tough to resist. Like my short list is now 6 languages long. Just so you know, Spanish, it's kind of a reboot there. Haven't touched that since high school. Hebrew, because growing up Jewish, I could read it but not speak it. That's a whole other episode there. And then there are the tactical languages, Chinese, Hindi, Russian. But now that it has been mentioned, feel free to hit that carrot with oh, and there's Finnish, because as a teenager, I lived there for one great summer, and I've stayed fluent in counting to 10 and ordering a burger. And speaking of comments, a comment with your favorite language learning services would be much appreciated. So let's move on to the physical stuff, without which the mental stuff is so much more difficult. If the pandemic taught us anything, it was the value of exercise. Regular, strenuous exercise. I am not saying any exercise is better than no exercise, because I don't believe in the words "at least." Living life at least gets you the least, and especially after surviving the pandemic, we deserve more than that. But we have to take more than that. Now, I'm not much for make-believe either, but for these purposes, make-believe it is now February. The gyms have emptied out. You can actually run on the Greenway or in your local park without having to dodge scores of people who are, living life at least. Assuming you don't have a chronic condition or a current injury, go as hard now as you had planned to do in February. You're not going to overdo it. Might you get hurt by accelerating your timeline? Yes. But I got sour news for you. To exercise at all, especially when you're over 50, is to get injured. You shouldn't go when you're injured, but you can when you are hurt. There's a difference. And if the goal is big enough, you will go when you're hurt. I ran the entire Beast of the East 100-mile race with a stress fracture. Well, I didn't know I had one. There was no evidence of an injury until 3/4 of the way through the race, and even then, it was nothing debilitating, just persistent, mild ankle pain. It's a small break, it's healing up now. I won't be running for another few weeks, but a person's nearly as likely to get a stress fracture by going from couch to 5K in a month as going from 100K to 100 miles in 2 months, which is what I did. And I'll bet you anything that the couch to 5K runner is going to have it worse than I did if they get a stress fracture. Now, don't go directly from couch in December to 5K in February if you've never exercised in the last few years. But if you're getting started now, do sign up for a 5K in April. The body can handle that kind of pressure. The mind is a different matter, and we'll work on that later. But if you lock yourself into a goal that's big enough to generate a little bit of fear, you're going to pay more attention to achieving that goal than you would if your training plan is based on how many times per week you hit the gym, or worse, how many pounds you lose. Now, if you've got doubts about your exercise capability, or you think you might already be injured, this is not a disclaimer, it's a directive. Talk to your doctor. And if you're injured, do what the fuck your doctor tells you to do. Exactly and precisely. Medicine is sometimes as much art as it is science, but neither you or I are painters. And if what your doctors have been telling you isn't producing results, that can happen, but find somebody else within days. Obviously, it's not cheap or easy to do that, but it needs to be done. Your health especially when you're trying to reboot yourself, is up to you. So to spend time on the couch whining about a healthcare system that clearly isn't going to be solved until we're well past 100, it ain't going to produce results. It's not up to anyone other than you to take care of you. Or, as my high school teacher, Mr. Muse, said, you gotta be selfish about your health. I am beyond sick of people who bitch about their health when they have doctors they like whose advice they won't take. No one can be expected at any price to care about your health as much as you do. And don't be telling me about other countries where they have better healthcare systems or more caring doctors. Those countries also have a populace of patients who take more responsibility for their own health. They use their doctors more as mechanics than engineers who built the cars that they're not happy with. Never in human history have we had it so good. The confluence of medical knowledge, exercise science, nutritional opportunities. Just within the past 5 years, there have been enough advances that if you can make it to 80 years old having avoided most major diseases and disorders, you can probably make it to 100. And if you're not interested in that, or convinced that getting old has to suck, this show ain't for you. That probably should have been show number 1, but here it is. So by the time we hit episode 3, we'll definitely have scared away anybody who's easily scared, right? This is Pushing 100. I'm Adam12. On Facebook, it's Pushing 100 Podcast. On Instagram, it's Adam12 Sweat Hog. Have a great weekend. See you out there. Hear you next Friday.